Hey guys, I've got a new art journal tutorial video for you today, and as you can see, I'm starting this art journal page out a lot different than how I usually start. I had a new idea for this layout, so you'll see it's a lot different. But to get started, all I did was I took some white gesso and I covered the pages in a pretty thick coat, and actually I went over it a couple times before it was completely dry pretty well. I wanted it to have a nice thick coat of gesso because I was really counting on that to protect the pages and to protect the spine of the book. Like I've talked about in some of my previous videos, this book is well loved. It's pretty beat up. The spine is a little bit raggedy. It's not in the greatest of shape. And I'm using watercolors in this video. And so I was really worried about the water getting to the spine and just weakening it even farther than what it already is. So I tried to be extremely cautious. I put like 3 layers of Scotch tape down the spine to protect it and lots of layers of gesso to protect it. So it actually worked pretty well. I don't think any of the water got through. It didn't damage any of the pages. I tried not to go too excessive with it. But I think I had some pretty good luck as far as that went. I don't think I will use watercolor again in this book, because I think I'll just be tempting fate if I do that. So I've just sketched out my picture and kind of what I wanted. You can see it's a music theme today. And then I'm going in with some masking fluid. This is actually called Colorless Art Masking Fluid. It's by Winsor & Newton. It's specifically made for watercolors. And if you've never used this stuff or you've never used watercolors before, this stuff is really awesome. I've had a lot of good luck with this Winsor & Newton brand. There's lots of different brands out there. I haven't tried them all, but this is kind of my go-to brand. It works really well. I always get the effect I want with it, so why change it if it's broken, if it's not broken? So all I'm doing is, if you've never used this, it basically creates a film when it dries over the areas of the page that you want to remain white, or that you don't want watercolor on. It really protects those areas of the page. And the only way I know how to describe it is almost like when you were a kid, if you ever did this. If you took like Elmer's glue, and if you drew with Elmer's glue and let it dry and it almost got plasticky, you could peel it up. It's kind of like that, only on a much better scale, like a better quality scale. So once it's completely dry, it's not really tacky, which is nice. It's kind of plasticky or rubbery, and it's a thin layer that just covers the page. And you'll see me take it off. It comes off once the watercolor's dry. So yeah, I just put it over the keys of the piano, and then I put it over the different music notes and music symbols. So with this, it's a really simple watercolor. None of these techniques are difficult. None of these are hard. If you like this page, I encourage you to give this a try, because it's very basic, very easy. You get a really cool effect really quickly, and it's super fun to do. I had so much fun doing this. I was a little bit scared. As you can see, I have like a napkin there trying to catch the water. But I was a little bit scared it was going to get on my other pages, but it actually didn't. It worked really well. So as you can see, I'm taking the masking fluid off, and all you really do is rub your finger over it and it peels right off, which is really cool. I did not get a perfect outline on my keys, so I'm just going in and touching them up with some more paint. But I don't mind that. Like, that's completely fine. I would rather have to go in and touch it up than to try to perfectly paint them, because I know I couldn't do that. So now I'm just going in with the watercolors, and I'm kind of defining the keys of the piano a little bit more. I just want to give the suggestion. Like, I don't want to completely paint each key out. I want this to have like a loose, almost whimsical effect. And so I'm just going in with water and kind of smudging and smearing and blurring those lines. And I'm touching up around the music symbols. I wasn't really happy with the way I did this. And I will tell you, if you are going to do this, the pencil, you can't erase on gesso. You can't do it. It'll rip the gesso right off the page. So I had laid down the pencil pretty heavy because I was trying to capture it on camera, what I was actually drawing, so you could see. And I did it so heavy that you could see it through the watercolor. So what I would recommend doing, whatever color you decide, because like this color I used is like it's supposed to be gray, but it almost looks blue, like a dark blue, almost black color. But whatever color you decide to use for this layout, if you're making something like this, or any other layout, if you try to use any of these techniques, I recommend getting a watercolor pencil, and that way, at least when you put the water down, it'll kind of smudge the lines away. I think that would have been a smarter thing to do. I don't have any watercolor pencils that match this color very well. I don't usually use them a lot, so had I thought it through a little bit more, I would have done that. But you can see I just keep going back and messing with it until I finally give up with the pencil lines. But all I've done is I've gone around the outside with some china, broken china is the color. It's Tim Holtz Distress Paint. And then I'm going in with some StazOn ink. I've actually just dabbed it on my finger, and I'm kind of just stressing around the edges to make it look a little bit worn, a little bit old. And I'm actually pretty happy with the way it came out because it picked up the grain of the paper even through the gesso, which is pretty cool. And then now I'm going in and I'm stamping my saying. I'm using some Versamark ink and just a cheap stamp set. You've probably seen this stamp set before if you've watched any of my other videos. I love this stamp set. So I don't even know what the brand is. I just got it on sale at Target for like $2 or $3. But I'm just stamping out my sentiment here, or my saying, and then putting my embossing powder on there. And I wasn't quite sure how I wanted the words to line up, so they aren't super straight or super clear. I kind of changed my I kind of changed my game plan halfway through, but that's okay. It's fine. It turned out okay, I guess. So I'm just going in with a brush and I'm getting rid of any of the excess embossing powder that's around the words, because the stamps, it was a cheap set, so they don't always stamp clearly. Sometimes it picks up the edge of this, like the rubber part of the stamp, and then it stamps that. So I'm just kind of cleaning that up. And so here I'm using I'm going in with one of my Wink brushes. And you can see by this point I had basically given up trying to completely cover the pencil lines. And actually, originally my plan was that I wasn't going to put any color on the music notes or symbols. I was just going to leave them white, kind of coming out of the smudged and drippy, smeared watercolor effect. However, they were very hard to see, so I almost needed to do it darker. And then also it made it really hard with them being white to hide the pencil lines. I went in with more gesso. I went in with a white gel pen. It just didn't look good. So then I thought, well, they're not standing out very well anyways, so I decided to go in with my black Winks brush pen and touch up the music notes. And if you've never used these pens before, they are really cool. They have like a glittery sheen inside of the ink. So when you paint it on, I don't know if the camera's really picking it up, but they almost look, it's almost fluid in a way, because the glitter that's in it is so fine, it just sort of like glistens in a way. They're really cool. The black, I feel like, doesn't glisten as much as the other colors do. I have a gray and I have a gold. The gold is super bright, and I mean, you can see like the glistening effect in it really well. They also make a clear color, which I'm thinking about getting because I think anytime I use the black, I'll probably go in and touch it up with some of the clear after it's dry. So that way it really gets the glistening effect. I had put down so many layers of gesso trying to get these music notes to stand out that it like sucked up the ink off of this. So I'm going over it all again to really make it look like that dark black color that I was going for. So you'll see I go in and touch these up and touch these up until I'm finally happy with the effect that I get. And so, like I said, it kind of went in a different direction than what I had initially wanted it to go in, but overall I'm pretty happy with how the page turned out. And the thing is, you know, you're doing it for you, and if the page isn't perfect, it's one page out of a collection of pages. Not every page is going to be 100% perfect, especially after you've created like 100 pages or something. So I think in all that this journal will probably have close to 30 pages in it. So if one page isn't 100% perfect, exactly as I wanted it to be, I don't know. I mean, it's a learning thing. The more you do it, the better you get, and the more you learn what you're going to like or what you're not going to like. So with this, I definitely liked the way the watercolor portion turned out. I was really happy with the piano keys and how they turned out. I wish that the notes would have stood out a little bit more and been a little more obvious, but I think I just needed to go heavier on the ink, or not on the ink, heavier on the watercolor. But if I'd done that, I feel like I would have lost the effect. So I don't know, I'm pretty happy with it overall. So I'm just going in with my white Jelly Roll pen, and I'm just adding some highlights to the music notes, and that really made it pop. This is Liquitex modeling paste, and I'm using a stencil by Tim Holtz. And this is just kind of like, I guess I would call it like distressed little circles. So it's a bunch of little circles, but they're almost distressed in a way because some of them are larger. They get, like, there's larger ones, there's smaller ones, there's gaps in them, so it has a really cool distressed effect. And I feel like a page is never complete if I don't put some modeling paste on it somewhere. I know that's maybe kind of silly, but I like the dimension, and I feel like it doesn't feel finished until it has some modeling paste on it. So yes, I know I do this all the time, but I have to. I'm addicted to modeling paste. I just love it. The last finishing touch, I went in with some Bombay India ink in white, and I'm using my fan brush, and I'm just going through and adding splatters all over the page. I thought it kind of made it look interesting, and it broke up the black area and the blue area and kind of brought it all together. So I love this technique, and I actually don't do it very often. I maybe do it on like 1 out of every 4 pages I make, so I've been trying to use it more. I know I should use it sparingly so they don't all look the same, but I just love ink splatters and modeling paste. Maybe I'm going to make a page where it's just a bunch of ink splatters and a bunch of modeling paste just all over the page. I'm kidding, I'm not going to do that. But those are my favorite things. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm having such a good time putting these videos together, and I hope that you're enjoying them too. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up, a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. I do a video each week, and I will see you guys in the next episode. I love you so much. Have a fantastic week.